guys, Nee here. Welcome back to my channel. So I've been gone for quite a while, and if you follow me on social media, then you probably know by now that we're expecting our second baby, and I am currently 17 weeks pregnant. And I announced it on my Instagram first, and a lot of you wanted to hear some baby updates just like my first pregnancy. And I thought that was a great idea because motherhood is something that I'm totally all about sharing, and I just love the experience and I love being a mom. So this is actually very exciting for me because I get to go through that newborn stage again, which I know some people aren't looking forward to, but I kind of am, but I'm a little bit nervous now that I have a toddler. Regardless, we're very blessed to have the second baby, and my hubby and I are super excited. So in this video, I'm just going to share how I found out I was pregnant. I guess we have to start off with Logan. So after I gave birth to Logan, it was through an emergency C-section. And for those of you who watched my previous videos, you know that after that C-section, I had post-operative complications. So what happened was I had internal bleeding, and I had to leave my wound open so that all the blood can drain out, and I also had an infection, so that's why they couldn't close the wound back up. So that wound had to heal as it was open, and because of that, the healing process took longer. So when we wanted to try for our second baby, our doctor and OB recommended that we wait for at least 18 months or more. So she said between 18 months to 2 years, just because I also had adhesions, which is basically as you heal the scar tissues attached to other things in your body, so that can cause a bit of pain. And I didn't know I had adhesions until after 6 months, and I was still feeling pain when I was coughing and sneezing. So we went for an ultrasound, and they had to do a transvaginal ultrasound, and that's when I found out that I had adhesions. But they weren't too bad, so the doctor said over time it should get better. So we started trying after the 18 months, and finally after a few months I fell pregnant, and we were super excited and actually kind of shocked because I had irregular periods, so I didn't know if I could get pregnant right away. And just like the first pregnancy, I got my period. I thought it was my period, but it turned out it was implantation bleeding because the next day it tapered off, and usually my period lasts for 5 days. So I was like, oh snap, I think I'm pregnant. So I went to take a pregnancy test, and sure enough, the positive line showed up, and I was super excited and super shocked and overwhelmed, like all at the same time. Because I remember with Logan, I was just happy and excited, but with this one I was kind of overwhelmed because I started thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to look after 2 kids? So anyways, that actually took longer for me to process than the first pregnancy. So I didn't tell my hubby right away because Father's Day was coming up, and I thought, you know, what a great way to share this news with him, you know, on Father's Day. So I was so good. I kept my mouth sealed for a whole week, and that, believe me, that's hard because I tell my hubby everything. So I was trying so hard to just keep my mouth sealed for that whole week. And finally Father's Day came, and before we went for brunch, I gave my hubby a Father's Day card with Logan, and I also presented him with a timepiece. But in the card I wrote that it would be his last Father's Day with just Logan and I, and also in the timepiece box I put the positive pregnancy test in it. So when he read the card, of course that already gave it away that I'm expecting, so just like the first pregnancy, he cried. And then when he opened the watch box, he found the pregnancy test. But it was kind of funny because after all of that, he actually told me that he had a hunch that I was pregnant, because apparently I gave all the little clues and hints away because I was peeing more often, and he said I was smiling a lot, which I didn't even notice, but I guess it's hard for me to hide something, especially when I'm so happy. So that's how I told him. But then it's like a deja vu with this pregnancy, because a week later I started bleeding just like the first one, and of course I got really scared again, but at the same time I'm thinking maybe that's just how my body is. I bleed in the first trimester. So I went to my doctor again. Oh, actually the only difference with this pregnancy than the other is that with this one I was having major cramps, like really bad cramps. So I went to my doctor, and she had me take another pregnancy test to see if I was still pregnant, which I was. But then she said, since I'm cramping and this is quite a bit of blood because I had to wear a pad, she said I might be having a miscarriage, which is when the pregnancy kind of ends itself in the very beginning stages. And I was also told the same thing last time by a different doctor, so right when I heard that, I kind of didn't want to accept it right away, and I guess she saw that as me trying to not accept the truth, but really it was because I heard it before and I just wanted more proof. So she had me take 2 blood tests to test for my beta-HCG levels to see if those pregnancy hormones were going up or down, and I also booked an ultrasound. So I did the blood work and the HCG levels were going up, which indicated that I was pregnant. So she gave me a call and she told me the results. So when she told me that, I was like, okay, you know, there's still hope, so we're going to go for an ultrasound. So I went for the ultrasound, and when I got in, the technician didn't really say anything to me. So she just sat down and she was pretty by the book. She turned the screen around, she just started doing her job. And before a pelvic ultrasound, you're always supposed to drink a lot of water so that your bladder is full. But for this one, she told me to empty it out, and then she did a transvaginal ultrasound so they can get a better look at things. Then at the end, she told me that she did find a little sac, the gestational sac, but inside she only saw the yolk sac and not the fetal pole. And then she said if I had any questions, I had to answer my doctor. So that same day, my doctor calls me and says that she wants to see me right away. And I was kind of scared because usually they only call you back right away if it's something bad. Usually if it's good, they won't even call you back. So with this one, I kind of knew something was up. So when I came in, she asked me if I wanted to hear the good news or the bad news first. And I'm like, man, there's bad news. So I just told her I wanted to hear the good news first, of course. So she said the good news is that they did find the gestational sac, and in it was a yolk. And she said that there are a few possibilities. Either I am 7 weeks pregnant and the embryo stopped developing at 5 weeks, or it could be that I actually ovulated late and that I'm 5 weeks pregnant. And so of course at this stage you can't really see anything besides the yolk sac. And then she said that the bad news was that the technician found an ovarian cyst that was on my right ovary, and it was 8 centimeters big, which is quite big. And she told me that if it starts getting bigger, because at that point I was still cramping every now and then, she said that it might need to be surgically removed during my pregnancy if my pregnancy is viable. So my next ultrasound was actually in 2 weeks, and during that time all I did was pray, and only my hubby and I and my older sister knew about it. I didn't really tell anyone because I didn't want people to worry about me. So we just prayed and prayed, and then finally on my second ultrasound I went in, and then she was taking the measurements and everything, and then at the end of it she asked me if I would like to see my baby. So of course I wanted to see, and this baby didn't look anything like Logan when he was a jelly bean, because when I saw Logan he was already 8 weeks and a few days, so he was like, you can see the shape of a baby. But with this one, this little baby looked like a little log with nubs, and right when I saw him on there, I was so happy. And I'm just calling it a him because we don't know the gender yet. My hubby came in afterwards too because they called the partner or husband in, and we both saw him. My hubby admitted to me later that he couldn't even really make out what it looked like. He just looked like a log. So at the end I ended up giving this fetus the nickname Twinkie. So that's the fetal nickname for this baby, because when we saw him he looked like a Twinkie. And I'm so excited for the next ultrasound because that's when I can really see what Twinkie will look like. And more great news about that ultrasound is that my doctor told me later that my ovarian cyst had decreased in size. So it went from being 8 centimeters to 7 centimeters, and she told me because it's decreasing, there's like a really good chance it's just going to dissolve itself. And she told me that if I'm still cramping, let her know. And ever since that ultrasound, I stopped cramping and I'm totally fine now. So I guess I'll talk about my symptoms for this trimester. The symptoms are, I would say, exactly the same as when I had Logan. I had food aversion, nausea, I was throwing up, but at the end it's all worth it because we are so excited for this new arrival. And oh, I forgot to mention, the due date is going to be February 18th, 2019. So this is going to be a February baby. So I am so excited for this. And by the time this baby is born, Logan will be 2.5 years old. So I'm just hoping that because right now he's going through the terrible twos. I'm hoping that when he's 2.5, he'll be, you know, a little bit more calm. So that's it for this pregnancy update. I do plan on doing a second trimester and third trimester when I'm about to pop. And I also want to do a what's in my diaper bag, so now that I have to pack for a toddler and a baby. And I also want to do a what's in my hospital bag, because last time I didn't get to do what's in my hospital bag, which is a good thing because it turned out I overpacked and I packed it way more than I needed. Now that I'm doing this the second time around, I know exactly what I need, so it's going to be a bit more helpful, I think. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I want to thank you for all the support, and I want to thank you again for joining me on this second journey. And if you're pregnant as well, let me know, because I love to see how many bump buddies I have, and let me know when your due date is. So again, if you guys want some bump updates, don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, which is #baby. It's a different handle than my YouTube. And there I post bump pictures and updates, and I'll probably be uploading a few more beauty videos on here as well, because I do want to share some of my favorites and also some mom favorites. So I guess now I'm going to show you my bump, and I'm 17 weeks and 3 days. So here's the bump at 17 weeks and 3 days from the side. Oh, someone is here. Someone woke up from their nap. You want to come here? And here's my baby. He's so big now. He sees me in the screen. Yeah, that's mommy. Show people. Where's baby? So he understands I have a baby in here. Where's baby?
Baby.
Where's mommy's baby? Where's your sibling? Yeah.
Your mommy, baby, mommy, and baby.
Yeah, mommy has a baby. Yeah, come here. And one thing is that I can't pick him up anymore because he's really heavy. He just turned 2 years old. Okay, baby, don't touch mommy's stuff. Okay, say bye. Say bye.
Bye.